I can tell you several stories, but this is a story I must tell. Let's start with Wura Bankole, a young, beautiful girl lost in the ocean of what she might one day become, battle between following her parents' wants and her heart desire. I mean, in terms of career and the man she might one day settle down with. Mom, Dad, I have something to tell you. She walked in on them on her way to school. Her parents were extremely in love with each other, so much they care so little for her. It's as if she never existed most times when they start their playful chats and bants. You can talk, her mom managed to say, with her lips still stuck to her dad's lips, and they continued kissing and laughing. Then she dropped the bomb. I am quitting business admin. They froze for a while, then looked at her. Oh, Bieda, her mom said, which simply translates to, she dares not. Not like I am totally stopping school. I need to pursue my dream of becoming a pediatrician. Maybe we should just open daycare for you. Her dad said, and they both laughed at her. I don't care what you think. That is what I want. Her dad cut in. Hey, young lady, watch your tongue. He grew angry. You have 2 years left to complete your study, then move to the United States for your master's, and then marry. He paused and looked at his mom as they smiled at each other. Donald. First, that is your dream, not mine. Second, I have no plans of going to the United States. I want to help children in Nigeria here. Lastly, I can't get married to... Just stop it right there. Her mom interrupted. Since when you were 5 years old, you've liked Donald so much. Mom, that's 5. My brain was not even fully developed yet. Then she whispered the rest. But what would you know about children's brain? Eh? Tunso. Timba bi yaba baida tunso. Baby. Mommy me here now. Sorry or call me. They hugged each other and started kissing and laughing again. I'm still here. You know what? I'll give you a choice. But know that if you will be running your daycare, she mumbled, it's not a daycare. Whatever. You will seek admission all over again, and I would not even call any of my friends to help you. If you can get the course by yourself, so be it, her father said. And her mother added before leaving, your allowance would also be halved if you don't want to marry Donald. Or what do you expect me to tell his mom? Mommy. She was determined, but at the same time pained by what her mom said and her dad's choice for her. Wura got to school that day and headed to the administration office to start the processing of her dropping out of school. On her way, she saw a poster of a science tutorial center. Then she saw people trooping into a lecture hall beside it. This must be a sign from God, she smiled. She joined the students as they waited for the tutor. After a long wait, a young, good-looking guy came in. Far from my expectation, he looked slightly older than the students he was teaching. Out of excitement, the student kept shouting, TK, TK, and he kept shaking hands with every one of them on his way to the class podium. This TK guy wasn't just good-looking, he was an absolute genius. He taught the class biology, chemistry, and physics without any textbook. He has the simplest and funniest ways to explain that after the class, the students could repeat everything he said. Wura totally enjoyed the class, but 30% of the time spent in that class, she was just staring and amazed by this young guy. She was so happy. She smirked, thinking, with him, I don't need daddy's help to get admitted. After everyone had left, she stayed back. Can I see you, sir? No, just TK, Ma. They both smiled. You really don't remember faces, do you? TK asked as she rolled her eyes trying to remember. I was the one that gave you a flyer of my tutorial some weeks ago and you threw it right at my face. Oh no, she covered her mouth. I am so sorry. I must have been... Things have been... crazy, you mean to say. He finished her statement and they laughed again. The conversation continued in one of the most charming and electrifying way. Wura didn't even know how much she had laughed. Her heart was totally melted and she felt so at peace. So much that she began to divulge everything about her to TK. He understood her so well and wasn't at all judgmental. at least not like her parents. If you don't mind, before you make any decision, let me take you somewhere to ease your mind. On their way, he began to tell her some subtle information about himself. She couldn't believe he was studying microbiology. No way. You're way too intelligent for that course, she said as she wanted to open the car. No, that would spoil the fun. We're going in a public transit, he said, holding her hands, and they walked away from the car park. To answer your question, he stopped to get Zobo and pop off. She looked at him weirdly when he offered her some. You rich people have will and way. You see us? We have hopes and dreams with no one to fund that dream. He insisted she tries the snack, and she did in order not to spoil the fun. They soon get to a bar across the road outside the school vicinity. No, I don't drink alcohol. She stopped halfway in. I don't too. Although his looks were convincing, but she doubted him. Okay. I do once in a while, but that's not why we're here. In order to convince her more, he felt to add, I actually work here. Throughout their whole stay at the bar, she kept staring at him, attending to customers diligently and happily. Everyone loved him around there. He was so humble and he was friends with all the thugs in the place. Wura wondered what kind of brain he had as he took all the customers' order without penning it down. Even some, he knew what they wanted without them ordering. She smiled at him across the bar and he came to her. Are you sure you don't want anything other than this juice? She nodded, no. I mean, we have tequila, vodka, brandy, whiskey, rum. I don't want sticky. She smiled, holding his hand across the table. They both stared for a while, and as her heart started to race, she withdrew her hand. I was meaning to ask. She needed to escape the awkward feeling. How do you manage to go to classes and still study with all this? Actually, I barely attend classes, which means I always don't get marks from attendance. I also don't like studying. I only crash read a night before my exam, most times in the bar while attending to customers. Wura quickly eased her shock with a fake smile that didn't last on her face. Give me a minute to balance the account for today, then I can drop you home. Drop me home. She shook her head as she smiled, knowing fully well it doesn't have a car. While TK was imputing the goods sold for that day in a book, a rough-looking guy reeking of alcohol and Indian elm walked to Wura. Oh baby, he tried to touch her. She was already getting scared. How much for short time? He hugged her forcefully and she screamed, TK. He rushed down to her. Fake poison. You have started again. Wura thought TK was trying to insult the guy, not knowing that was his name. Fake poison pushed TK's chest. Kiloman fucking worry, boy. Everyone stood up and gathered around. Apparently, that was an highly anticipated fight. Fake poison doesn't like TK because everyone likes him, and it doesn't even hide it from anyone. TK, my berry. All the thugs started hailing him. I don't want your trouble tonight. I am done here already. Let me just leave with her. And I am gonna kiss your babe. He struggled to say and tried to grab Wura again. TK held his hand, but he immediately followed with a punch which landed on TK's jaw. It was painful, but that was the least he ever received. As TK fell to the ground, he kicked Fake Poison's leg and he fell too. Swiftly, TK climbed on top of him and started raining some heavy blows on his face. After a while, he stood up, but Fake Poison wouldn't go down so easily. He went after TK again and gave him a punch in his belly, one that caused him to bend down enough to receive another one on his face, and Fake Poison fell unconscious. TK held Wura and was leaving. Everyone was happy about the downfall of Fake Poison. He had terrorized the bar enough. Sorry for the mess inside, TK said, hugging Wura tightly. She smiled, then laughed. It was all a lot to take in. She was amazed, scared, but more than that, she felt a lingering, strange feeling towards TK. So how are you going to drop me home, Mike Tyson? She laughed. Stubborn problem. TK called out, and a thug drove his bike and parked in front of them. This should get you home on time. I would see you some other day. I have some things to deal with right now. She had a lot to think about that night. How some people managed to survive and still chase their dream with no one to help them. Before, she was scared of how she would survive if her mom divided her monthly allowance, which would still amount to about 50,000 naira monthly, whereas TK's salary at the bar was just 25,000 plus the tips he receives. Yet, it teaches tutorial classes to pay tuition fees with some other school and basic needs. She inhaled deeply, then exhaled peacefully, knowing that she now have all the reasons to chase her dream. She turned off the light in her room as she was about to sleep. She smiled, remembering what a crazy, amazing, lovely day she had with TK. Wait, I don't even get his full name.